Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Really good to see you again today. This is John Stanton, co-founder of Chōsen, and I am excited to welcome Robin Connelley, who is also the co-founder. Now, what's exciting about today is that we're going to be talking about getting back up in the face of adversity and welcoming Robin. Hello, Robin.
Hello.
How's it going over there in your side of Bali?
Hot.
Hot. I love it.
A
Northern
spicy.
Hemisphere. What's that?
It's a little spicy today.
Yeah, it's a little spicy. I like how you describe that. Our friends in the Northern Hemisphere are just getting into winter. You guys have been enjoying a wonderful summer and fall, and now it's getting a little spicy on the other side of the weather equation. Robin and I are in basically on the equator, and it has been smoking hot, which has been kind of fun these days. What I really like about what's going on right now is that we're actually seeing a transition in the world. We're seeing a bit of optimism with things like the COVID vaccine, elections happening, etc. And Robin, as you were entering the conversation, I was introing something that you've actually done recently that inspired me and basically inspired what we're talking about today, which was the content piece about you being in the ring. So for you guys who don't know this, Robin reached the peak of her kickboxing career as a black belt kickboxer. She was the second and third ranked kickboxer in America while she was the president of her law school class. So she's a little of an underachiever, for those of you who don't know too much about her background. And she did this amazing content piece that started with, oh shoot, did I just get kicked in the face? And to me, that opening line is one of my favorite all-time opening lines of any piece of content or articles or videos that I've actually been lucky enough to read this year. And I wanted to bring it to everyone's attention because the theme of today is basically getting back up in the face of adversity. And as you know, Robin, everyone on the planet has basically just gotten kicked in the face for the past 9 months. So can you tell us a little bit about the inspiration for sharing such a personal story and its relevance to what we're experiencing today?
Sure. Basically, the idea, one of the main concepts behind martial arts that we're trained in when we go through the belt system and the ranking system in martial arts is that actually a lot of what we do is around resilience and endurance and being able to stick with it. So once you make a choice, see it through, stick with it. And the simplest version of that is if you want to get into a fight with someone. Okay, so let's say someone threatens you in some way. Your answer is, do I fight or do I flee? Like, do I run or do I fight? And most people on the planet would probably actually just freeze. But as a martial artist, we're trained to not freeze. So we're trained to make that decision. Is this a situation where I need to fight or can I get away? You always plan to try to get away first. That's the best course of action in any situation. If you have an option, you do not fight. But once you realize that you need to fight, then that's the choice and you stick it through all the way to the end. So what happens in that situation and how that relates to what's happening now is you have some choices to make when you find yourself in an uncomfortable situation, when you feel afraid, when you feel like things are uncertain and you don't have stability. Generally, you're going to kick into a fight, flight, or freeze mode.
Yeah, and this is something that happens to you, right? So this is like a personal thing as well.
This happens to everyone, and it happened to me this year as well. You know, at first in January or February, we had to decide that we were going to cancel all of the Chōsen experiences for the year, and that was very unnerving for us, and I had to take a moment and adjust to that and say, okay, do we freeze and just sort of wait and see how things go, or are we proactive and do we, make an alternative plan? And so that took a moment for us to do that. But now we made a choice and we're on a different plan and we go forward. So I think that's what happens to a lot of us. And obviously being kicked in the face or being knocked down on the mat or, being wiped out in surfing, we kind of use these metaphors over and over. Those are things that happen to everyone, even the best of the best of the best. In order to be an athlete in any sport or be the best at anything, you're going to fail sometimes. It's not
often, right? You're going to fail often.
Yeah, you're going to fail probably more than you succeed. And so having an expectation and an understanding of that is very important, especially as entrepreneurs. So taking that concept from martial arts, from fighting, and moving it into a business context, into a day-to-day life context around, okay, yes, we're trying something new. It's something we've never done before. Can we do it? The answer is always, of course you can do it. If you can make sure that it's something that you want to do and you see it all the way through. And a big part of that is knowing that you're going to make mistakes. You're going to have failures. Some days you're going to feel like this is not working. And I don't know what to do about it. And it feels a bit out of control. And that's what it feels like when you get in the face. It's out of your control. And you're just sort of like, what's happening? So there's a way to have a practice to become more accustomed to that feeling. And instead of allowing that feeling to surprise you and to make you freeze, instead, it allows you to identify that this is an opportunity for a choice. You're at a crossroads. Okay, nice. What now? What do I want to do now? How do I move forward? What is my choice right now in this situation? How do I view what's currently going on? Where am I? What resources do I have? And where am I trying to get to? And then decide your course of action. And that is the martial arts training coming in, which is like, okay, instead of freezing, it's decision-making time now.
I love that what you're talking about, which it's a bit of a demystification, of what a lot of us experienced as kids. Is you got like the Karate Kid going on, and you have Mr. Miyagi there trying to explain things. Mr. Miyagi had a plan, right? That's what I like. I hear you saying. I see Mr. Miyagi in you right now, and I love it. This is kind of cool, and it actually resonates with me pretty deeply because you and I have been talking a lot about hope, and how that's central to the Chōsen ethos. That's central to basically everything that we teach, we preach, we embody. And we did a recent content piece on hope, and we did that piece because there's a bit of a this tendency to confuse hope with optimism, right? But now what we're seeing with what you're talking about, Miss Miyagi, is that hope is actually a cognitive construct. It's a framework that is reliant on having a plan, and not just having a plan. You have like crystal clear goals. You have a plan, but knowing that you're going to get kicked in the face while you're executing the plan, and having the optimism to be like, yeah, I just got kicked in the face, and that was feedback, and I'm going to use that feedback to adjust the plan.
Yeah, exactly. And saying, hey, have a plan for getting kicked in the face, because you know that that's going to happen sometimes. And having that plan there and adapting it as you get kicked in the face so that you can embody the learnings and carry them forward and keep progressing even when that's happening.
Yeah,
100%.
I love it. I love it. It resonates deeply with me. And I think what I'd like to do right now is take a moment, pause, and say to everyone, Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. And part of the reason we're saying this to you guys, and I know that the vast majority of the people who are connected to Chōsen, all of our alumni, 75% of you guys are not Americans. But what that means to us is that there's an understanding of Thanksgiving as it relates to gratitude. And so Robin and I were talking today about one of the primary ways that she and I have both, in different ways, been both recovering from and persevering through COVID 2020 stress. Sometimes you get hit with despair. Sometimes you have to pick yourself back up, or, I'll use the pronouns. And every now and then I feel despair. Every now and then I feel myself actively getting back up. But what I think we both discussed earlier today as it relates to Thanksgiving is that gratitude has come up as a central theme in what's been keeping us sane this year. So Robin, let's discuss that from your perspective. You can throw the question back out at me. What are some things that both you're grateful for this year? And this is kind of a big question, right? Because there's so much kind of fluffy BS out there. Like, oh, COVID is great. It's not great. It sucks. What are some of the things that you're grateful for this year that you will actually be implementing moving forward, and it's actually changed your life for the better going through this very challenging experience of 2020?
Yeah. So first I want to say that, the part where I was speaking earlier about martial arts and when you get kicked in the face, the first kind of part is, what resources do I have? So something key to me is probably missing. Something that I thought I needed isn't here, and I now have to make do without it. And that feels like a kick in the face. So the first thing is, okay, check my resources. What do I have around me right now? What can help me get to where I'm trying to go? And I think those are things that you definitely need to be grateful for. And those are things that I would be grateful for. So anything that's supporting me. So, I mean, one big thing is my martial arts experience. I started when I was a teenager. I did not know how important it would be to me, how much it would impact me for the rest of my life. And it's still here with me. And it's very important. And it actually connects quite well with me being in Bali. So I'm grateful that I've experienced COVID in Bali. It's a safe place. It's a beautiful island. I have, a good structure here that supports me. And I'm also near a beach, and I have my dog, mainly the dog. So I'm very grateful for that as well. And those have been key things. And then, thirdly would be all the learnings that we've been embodying and encompassing and creating programs around with Chōsen, because I'm using them over and over and over again. And I'm learning, how to get through this. And a lot of that's on my own. I'm doing it alone. And I'm so grateful to have this opportunity to revisit some of the things that were foundational that we learned a few years ago, but that are actually becoming, front and center for us now, like, daily gratitude and things like that. So how about you? What are you grateful for during COVID?
Man, there's a few that you stole from me. So things like the dog. Yeah. Thanks for stealing the dog and the beach from me. I appreciate that. A big thing that's come up for me is actually connection. And, during the last few months, we put on these connection events where, because we over-engineer everything at Chōsen, because we're, old school clean tech VCs that are hyper researched in neuroscience and all the madness, and, athletes, martial artists, the Olympians and everything. If you guys don't know this, we put some connection events that were actually based around the concept of listening for understanding and connecting with people, even though we were all in 20, 30 different countries when we were doing it. And so those experiences brought to light something that I really didn't realize before. It was just the beauty of being able to connect with people in a very open and vulnerable way, with one grounding common denominator, right? So we're all going through this right now. And so even recently, a really good friend of mine, John, his name is also John, in New York, between New York and Miami, I was having some struggles, and I didn't feel like anyone would know how to help me or what to say or what to do. It was like in my head about it. And I reached out to him, and he instantly took a call. He's a CEO. He's very busy. Instantly took a call, listened, provided some interesting perspective. And had I been, in my normal 15, 20 countries a year, in and out of meetings, experiencing things that, take up a lot of time and a lot of bandwidth, I wouldn't have made that outreach. I would have done something different. And so connection is one. So it's like the type of foundational connection that I see that I personally need now moving forward is come front center. And I'm actually really grateful for that.
I want to add something that came up for me the other day that's really important, and then we'll keep going with your gratitude list.
Yeah.
It's interesting that in order to have deeper relationships with people, you need to fall and allow them to catch you. And I thought that was such an interesting thing. It's like you need to give them the opportunity to be there for you. If you're constantly trying to make sure that you don't need anybody, then you're not going to have anybody, because there's no practice. You're not giving them the opportunity to show up for you. And I thought that was really interesting based on your story. That was poignant for me. So
yeah,
continue. What are you grateful for?
I'm glad that you basically summarized what I said in 5 minutes. What I said in 5 minutes, you said in 20 seconds. And I appreciate that brevity there. That was really good. Yeah. And, to your point, what I perceive is myself falling. The conversation with my friend John, it was just great. He's like, I can introduce you to 50 people right now who are going through the exact same thing with you. He wasn't trying to check me or put me in my place or anything like that. He was just like, we got people, man, let's talk. And that shared experience was something that really resonated pretty deeply with me. And so from connection, then the concept of hope back again. It's like I've really reconnected with this concept of hope. And also because I'm a science nerd, just the concept that I can define my existence, I can be hopeful if I have a goal, a plan, and I am ready to get kicked in the face, because I will. It's going to get kicked in the face. And so just getting back to that place of connection with some incredible people that are far away, like 9,000 miles away, getting reconnected with this concept of hope that incorporates that discipline from martial arts, but also, I'm inherently optimistic. So when I feel bad, I actually am harder on myself. I'm like, I feel like crap. Why am I feeling like crap? But then this concept of hope comes in play, and I'm like, I feel bad. This is feedback. Let me reevaluate my goals. Let me reevaluate my plan. Let me be hopeful, because I know I can reach this goal. And so those two things, beyond the dog, the beach, some incredible people that are in my life, even in Bali, I've actually been able to connect and reconnect with folks who are, themselves going through this experience, is pretty remarkable. So yeah, so that's my list. It's I have a long list. I do it every morning. So sometimes I'm like, man, this pillow is killing it for me today. It could be as simple as that. Yeah. And so what I really love about what we're talking right now is that there's a few other things that have come up for both of us during this time of challenge and transition, right? And I think that there is what we're talking about right now is a bit of an emotional transition that we're going through in different ways. There's also a physical transition. And how are you taking care of your mind-body connection in a physical way during this time, Robin?
Yeah, so that's an interesting question, because I'm actually, well, first of all, I want to say, hi, Josito.
Josito.
Yeah, he just said hello. Joining us from Guatemala. We miss you guys. Yeah, so I've been in the last maybe 3 or 4 years going from a contraction state. So, weightlifting, shortening, building big muscles, having explosive power, speed, etc. In the last 3 years, I've moved to an expansion state. And That's because I had no injuries, but I had precursors to injuries. So I had like some little twinges, is what we say. And typically people ignore twinges. And I decided not to ignore my twinges. And so it's been a 3-year journey so far, and I can see that it's not finished yet. So we're still we're still dealing with these twinges, but in a very present way and in a very curious about the journey sort of way. So what I've been doing during my time here, especially on lockdown, was making sure that when I can, I go to the beach every morning and try to have a 40 minute to 1 hour walk first thing. So that way I get to connect with nature. I have some space. I also do a walking meditation. So I'm kind of multitasking a little bit there, which is really nice for me. And it gives me a good start to the day. I also am doing some stretching from my osteo and my physio, which are some, my body specific things, just to make sure that I'm working on my alignment and again, expansion. Primarily, I'm expanding my vertebrae and my spine, just trying to lengthen that out.
Yeah.
And I'm doing, and I'm also doing remote Pilates, which is working out really well for me. I always thought that it had to be in person. And I would have thought that it was something that didn't translate well to a virtual situation. I'm happy to report that that is not the case, especially with my instructor. And so it's actually still specific to me, but it's something that she checks in with me once a week. I do my workouts throughout the week, and then I check in with her once a week so she can give me some fine tuning, and then I work on it myself, which is actually allowing me to become a much more independent Pilates practitioner instead of what I was before, which is that I kind of always wanted that one-on-one attention just to make sure I was always doing it right. And now it's allowing me to start to take responsibility for that, which of course is important in my body, because in order to get that expansion, I need to be responsible for continually teaching my body to be in an expanded state. So those are my key goals. Oh, there's one more. Third one is I try not to sit for too long in a row. So every 20, 30 minutes, even if it's just to get up and walk around the room 2 or 3 times and then come back to my computer or whatever, it's that constant movement and not being sedentary for very extended times throughout my day. So those are my 3 physical aspects that I've incorporated and adjustments that I've made for COVID this year. How about you?
I'm focusing quite a bit on a lot of similar stuff, and I think there's this concept, or there's this general understanding that being physical and moving your body feels good, right? I think I would take it to the next level where it's like if I
that way.
right, yeah, I would take it to the next level for me where it's like if I don't, there are negative repercussions. And a lot of the time this year where I've had the hardest time emotionally, psychologically, even intellectually with, the level of stress happening where there's this brain fog from stress, right? Moving my body is definitely been my saving grace, and it's consistent. And then, as some of you guys know, even on my on some stories that I posted earlier in the year, I have some long-term injuries, some like big injuries that I almost died snowboarding 15 years ago, or 17 years ago now. Am I that old? Is that a thing? Am I really that old? Holy smokes! And so like the injury in my back is actually pretty, is not something that I've, focused on necessarily, even though I do a lot of CrossFit and weight training and even, cardiovascular endurance stuff and all the things, plus some motorcycle injuries, some crashes and, things in my body that are now coming to the point where they're affecting me, even my normal daily movement. And so to your question, I actually saw a video of myself moving around during my most stressful moment this year, and I saw that my body didn't have fluidity, and I could actually read basically the stress in the way that I moved. And it was exacerbated by the injuries that I have, you know, so I could see it specifically. I'm like, oh, wow, yeah, that I was really stressed out, and my injuries have gotten worse, and I've built around them. And so I'm actually on this program right now with my good buddy Will, who is helping me out to actually stretch and then retrain my body with a lot of tempo work in really perfect positions, and really work with the muscles that are usually forgotten because normally I'm explosive, and it's like big weights, doing this, running, jumping, climbing, doing stuff, and it's all just like expansion, explosion. And now I'm doing these like 5-second down eccentric movements, and then second, and just all these things while I'm doing stretches and everything else. And so it's come back around to show me the importance of not just moving. I still, you know, I'll do a handstand once an hour because I'm going crazy sitting at the office, but moving with purpose. And now my purpose, I guess this should be on the list of things that I'm extremely grateful for, is that I have a new purpose as a physical person. And this is one of longevity of performance. So I want to be able to move beautifully and with purpose for the next 50 years. And the only way that I can do that is start training the way I'm training now. Yeah.
It's also so interesting how, in my experience, which I'm sure you've had as well, it's interesting that when you start changing your body, the types of movement that you do and realigning it, you start having shifts in your mental state as well, the way that you think, and they're actually so intricately related that if you try to change your movement but you keep your mindset the same, it's actually, your body doesn't change. But if you're open, shift how you view things and then try to change the way that you move, then both things happen together. So having one without the other is extremely difficult. But when I actually decided to pair them together, change the way I think and view the world first, and also how I move through the world, those two things together had basically exponential return on both aspects when I put them together.
Yeah. And that's, you know, you were kind of grinning. I think you saw the video of me. I'm like, Robin, take a look at this. Who's this old man with the trucker hat at the gym? Oh my God. You can tell he's stressed out. He's upset about something. And that's what's crazy about this, you know, to your point, you know, 2 points you made, very handily, very big points, right, one after the other, is that moving will actually promote neuroplasticity. And that's part of the way that we're doing things in, say, the Chōsen resilience course. All through November, we've had live classes, and in every class we get around and we shake our butts a little bit, and that's because it promotes your brain rewiring itself. And you know what's really interesting is that decision that you're talking about, the decision to change movement patterns, is also part of that concept of choosing to rewire your brain, but you're doing it in a physical way. And that's what's so amazing. It's really cool. So we only have about a minute left in our allotted time. We can actually do what we want because we're the co-founders of Chōsen. So we'll just, you know, keep going. But for the video's sake, we're going to be doing a really interesting program for everyone to basically reframe, recharge, and then celebrate this year along the same ideas that we've shared today, but in a condensed format that's going to be interactive and really exciting. Robin, can you tell us a little bit about this and then give us some information about it? And we'll close with our key takeaways from today.
Sure. So basically on December the 12th at 9 a.m. Singapore and Hong Kong time zone, we are going to be doing a 1-hour webinar. It's free for everyone. We're going to post a link here. You can sign up, go to our Instagram. The link will be there. and you give us your email. We send you the invitation. You come and we'll do a 1-hour session with you, and we'll have people from all over the world there, and we'll lead you through a reframe of this year, how to regenerate and learn from what happened this year, and to make sure that after you reframe that we have a plan of action, how to take those learnings into your future, into 2021, and also a plan for celebrating this lovely experience, because grateful for all experiences. And I think we're all going to learn a lot from 2020. And it'll also focus on a plan of celebration and how you're going to move through the holidays. So making sure you're set up in a way to take care of yourself, to make sure you enter the holidays with a positive mindset. I know a lot of people are going to be spending the holidays a bit differently this year. You may be quarantined, you may be away from your family, you may actually be entirely alone for the entire holiday season, like a lot of us will be. And I think having a plan for that and an action, a self-care action system, so that you know you're going to go through it, you're going to take care of yourself emotionally, and you're going to get a lot out of the holiday season this year. Have a little party with yourself, figure out a way to celebrate in the best way that you can, and set yourself up for a beautiful 2021. So that's free, and we would love for as many of you to join us as possible. Invite your friends. It's going to be amazing. And I think pretty much everyone on the planet can use this little structure and a little bit of guidance to just process what has happened to us all this year.
I love it. I'm excited. I'm stoked. I'm like, can we do it right now? Can we kick it off right after this? That'd be great.
We created it.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, Robin, quickly, what is the key takeaway that you took from today's session here on IG Live?
I think it's a reminder, but it's still that mind-body connection. I mean, I think I've known it. I learned it. It started when I was in martial arts. I got it again. I just keep getting it again and again, and it's a little bit deeper, and it's a little bit more intricate, and it adds a little bit of complexity to it every time. And it's something that I think I'll be processing probably for the rest of my life, but I'm always welcoming more conversation about that, more new neural pathways in my brain about that, more gratitude for that as well. How about you?
Well, I mean, I'll bring it to a close with my key takeaway. I am extremely excited about what's happening on the 12th. And because of it being based around this concept of celebration, like prepping to be shifted into this concept and this mindset of celebration, I would say my key takeaway for today is celebrate this year. Even if we got kicked in the face, there's a lot of learnings. Yeah. And I'm very excited to have had this time with you today, Robin. Thank you everyone for joining us, and we'll see you in a couple of short weeks.